Actually, my first book. And it was actually Keith Weich's idea. Keith Weich is the division president at Pitney Bowes, and having struggled through his corporate career into a senior level position, he knew the struggles that it took to get there, and so he believed that this was important, and so he asked mine to tell this story. And so I know that many of you are business owners, and so there is a lot that can relate to you in here. And I want to start off by saying that this is a really exciting time in America. It's a difficult time, but it's a really important time in our history. And without making this a political speech, and some of the lessons that I'd like you to take from this are not political in nature, but Barack Obama's presidency, or the possibility of him becoming the next president, is really exciting, knowing where he came from, the name that he had, and all the obstacles that he faced. And he, in this, embodies that whole good is not enough, that you really do have to work beyond. And I have a lot of respect, I was saying to Michelle, I have a lot of respect for people in corporate America because, and for business owners, because it takes a lot to be able to have a vision and really just walk that road to get there and to see the end result. And so one of the things, I had a list of things that I just wanted to go through briefly that I think that anybody can relate to, and particularly business owners. And one of the tenets of the book is, and we have it listed on the rules to remember, is that you must be willing to put in the work. And that's not news for anyone. But as you start off on your road, you realize that it's not easy. I mean, you may have a dream, you may have an ambition, and that's the easy part. I mean, the vision comes to you and it's clear and you can see it and you know there's a need, but then there's the actual work that has to get done to put that in. And sometimes we really don't want to put ourselves out to make sure that we do the work, because you may need to take certain classes, you may need to attend certain events. You need to get out of your comfort zone. And what we talk a lot about in this book is, for minorities in particular, it can be difficult for us to move out of our comfort zone. A lot of times, particularly in the work environment, you know, if someone invites you out to lunch or invites you out to that crowd, those aren't my folks, I don't need to socialize with them. And it's important to be able to go out and mingle and network, and even if they're not your people, even if you don't like them, there's so much that can be gained by just having a conversation or just opening up yourself to the possibility of talking to someone. The second piece is the playing field is not level. We know that. We've been taught that from birth. Our parents told us that. We've been knocked around in school. We all had teachers or guidance counselors who told us it's not possible. You should go here and not go here. You should probably settle here and not dream this big. So we know that. And for too many of us, we like to get into that conversation as we're working. They won't let us, he won't let us. You know, when Barack Obama first considered running, you know, one of his closest advisors said, if only you weren't named Barack Obama. And if he had listened to that, he would have never taken the steps needed to even to get as far as he has. So whether he wins or not, the fact that he took a gamble on himself, despite the advice, I mean, he wouldn't even have married Michelle if he wasn't consistent, because she herself admitted, you know, who names their kid Barack Obama? So it's really important to be able to, we know there are challenges, we understand that, but it's really important to not let those challenges be your excuse for not moving forward. And what I've learned in terms of faith, when you take one step forward, then all of a sudden things just start happening. The expertise that you think you didn't have all of a sudden comes to you. The money that you didn't think you could have also becomes available. So it's just a matter of, we like to say, walking in faith. That if you can do that, then you'd be surprised at how the universe responds to you and just opens up and gives you things that you need. It's not about the company or what the company should do, it's about what you should do. And it's the same thing in business. For business owners, it's not about what your consumers or your constituents should do, it's what you should be doing. And do you even know who your customers are? Do you know what their needs are? Do you know if your company is relevant? Do you know if it's up to speed? And those are things that you really have to stay in tune with. That often, again, that we take those things for granted. You believe that your idea is great and the people should just come. And it takes a lot more than that. It takes being humble, it takes listening, it takes doing the research, and it takes growing, it takes evolving, and knowing that you might have started out in one place, but what do I need to do to actually get to the next level? And it's where organizations like this come in handy. I mean, are you joining the right organizations? Are you reading the right trades? Are you talking to the right people? Are you developing the right mentors to help you understand what your business is? And then the final tenet, and I wanted to go on to another story, but the final tenet in terms of the book is, again, never let anyone limit your vision for what you want to accomplish. A cliche, don't let anybody dampen your dreams. But it's something that you really do have to get up every day and realize that if it's something that you have dreamed to conceive, God or whomever you believe in gives you these things for a reason. Like I don't think that, and if he's given it to you, then it's really yours to pursue and to develop. And you really do have to work toward whatever the goal is. Michael Lee Chin, who is a billionaire and works in the financial industries in Toronto, has spoken at several of our conferences, the Entrepreneurs Conference that we do every year in May. And he has talked about his challenges. Crisis means danger and opportunity. And so in every obstacle and every challenge, you always have to look for what the opportunity is. And that's why I started off by saying that these are really challenging times for us. We don't know where we're going to be politically, but whatever happens, we've got to be able to know that you can make it through whatever the situation is going to be. That's whether it's in your personal life, whether it's in your corporate life, whether it's in your business life, because all of those things just make you stronger when you get out on the other end. When you can go through a challenge, then you definitely know what not to do the next time. And you're better prepared for things that come up further along. One of, the book is chock full of stories and tales of how people either overcome challenges, the mistakes they've made, and what they've learned in those areas. One of my favorites, who is, here it is, Renetta McCann, when we had done the interview at Black Enterprise, she was our corporate executive of the year. And she, at the time, was the CEO for North America at Starcom, which is one of the largest advertising agencies in the world. She's since become the worldwide president for Starcom, and she has since resigned, and I believe, Michelle, from some of the things that we've talked about, just the challenges of being, having that much pressure in an environment like that. But one of the stories that she told is that her favorite book for success was The Godfather, and the movie. That's her guideline for success. And so, of course, you're thinking, why would a mafia movie be inspiration to anybody in business? But she said Don Corleone had some basic tenets that really worked. And the first one was he surrounded himself with good advisors. True, he surrounded himself with good people, which meant that he always got the right advice. And that's what we tend, particularly again minorities, because we've always been taught that you have to be the best at what you bring. You never want to ask anybody for help, because asking somebody for help is going to mean that you don't know what you're doing. But that's the only way you're going to be able to get the type of feedback that you're going to need to be able to move forward. And so you always need people around you that are smarter than you. That's not a bad thing in business. And particularly if you run the business, you can fire anybody you like. But if you run the business, you can bring in all of the best talent. And a lot of times we don't want anybody to outshine us, or we don't want anybody who we think is smarter than us. But you have to have smart people around you if you're going to develop a strong business. The second thing was he knew his opponents. He knew who the enemies were. So in this business, real or perceived, you have to know what your competition is. You have to know who the adversaries are, and you have to know how those can actually either enhance your business in terms of what people are not doing and how you can better that, or how they could really maybe even cannibalize what you've developed. So again, it's important to do the research, to be forward-thinking enough, to be outward enough, so that you really know what's going on totally in your business and in the area in which you do the business. The other thing is he worked on quid pro quo. He did things for people, people did things for him. That's the development of your network. The rule number one in developing your network is being able to do something for someone else so that when you call on them for a favor, they remember what you've done. Most of the times when we network, we look to see what we can immediately get from someone. That's the worst thing you can do. You really have to know how you can offer your services to someone else. And the way you do that, I mean, it can really be simple. If you know someone is struggling in a business, or if you know someone who has a business, just reading something in a newspaper. You know, I saw this in the New York Times. I'm going to forward this to you. I'm clipping. We talked about this book. I found it. Here it is for you. So that you're not, when you finally call someone because you need their expertise, you're not seen as using someone, which again is something that we don't ever want to be seen as someone, we don't ever be seen as a user. But if you initiate your network, or initiate developing your network from that premise, you'll feel much more comfortable about calling someone and then asking for a favor. And the fourth thing was, he never made a move before his time. He was very shrewd in that way. And that, again, speaks to preparation. If you may want to have a business that is in 6 different states, but if you're not prepared for that, then you're going to be destined to fail. So you have to know at the rate that you can grow, how you should grow. Your advisors can help you in determining what your growth rate should be. But again, it speaks to being prepared and knowing what you need to be able to move things forward. And then the fifth thing was, and it's important in business and your personal life, he never got emotional. He never took things personal. In fact, the reason Sonny died, if you guys watched the movie, he was the emotional one. He was the irrational one. And in business, nothing's personal. A friend today is a foe tomorrow, but it has no impact on what you need to do or how you're going to move your business forward. So that's just one of the tales, or one of the stories that we retell in this book. But as you guys move forward and develop your businesses and continue to expand your businesses, I hope that this book can serve as some inspiration. And I just want to thank you for having me here and wish you all the very best in all your endeavors. And we'll see you at the top.